Hi friends, myself Subrata Mukherjee and you are watching my channel Dr. Subrata Mukherjee Distance Learning in Commerce. Today I am going to solve another problem on consignment account. This is lecture number 10 and you can see the other lectures in the playlist section of the channel. I would like to request the students to note the problem with solution in your notebook. Rahim of Bombay consigned to Raju of Madras goods to be sold at invoice price which represents 125% of cost. Raju is entitled to a commission of 10% on sales at invoice price and 25% of any excess realized over invoice price. The expenses on freight and insurance incurred by Rahim were rupees 10,000. The account sales received by Rahim shows that Raju effected sales aggregating to rupees 1 lakh in respect of 75% of the consignment. His selling expenses to be reimbursed were rupees 8,000. 10% of the consignment goods of the value of rupees 12,500 were destroyed by fire at the Madras godown and the insurance company paid rupees 12,000 net of salvage. Raju remitted the balance in favor of Rahim. Prepare the consignment account and the account of Raju in the books of Rahim along with necessary working. In this question, the cost of goods consigned is not given, but there is a clue that 10% of the goods destroyed by fire at consignee's godown is valued at rupees 12,500. So I can write here 10% of the consignment goods is equal to rupees 12,500. Now this good was destroyed by fire. So what is the cost price of the goods destroyed by fire? Now the consignment goods that was destroyed by fire, which is given at 12,500, is at IP. This is at IP, that is invoice price. So 10% of the consignment goods at cost price is equal to 12,000 multiplied by 100 divided by 125. So this is at rupees 10,000. It is given in the question that cost plus 25% of cost is equal to invoice price. So if the cost is 100, the load is 25 and invoice price is 125. So this is the equation and the relation between the cost price and the invoice price. So the 10% of the consignment goods at cost price is rupees 10,000. Therefore, cost price of goods consigned is equal to rupees 1 lakh. 10,000 multiplied by 10 and invoice price of goods consigned is rupees 1,25,000. Now this working is very important and I am writing this working as working note number 1. So in working note number 1, I have calculated what is the cost price of goods consigned, that is at rupees 1 lakh, and the invoice price of goods consigned is rupees 1,25,000. Now I am going to prepare the consignment account in the books of Rahim, consignment to Madras account. So we have particular rupees, particular and rupees. So on debit side, I can write here to goods sent on consignment account. And this is at invoice price of rupees 1,25,000. So on the credit side, I have to write by goods sent on consignment account, and the load is, this is the load, and the load is 25,000. As because the cost price of goods consigned was rupees 1 lakh, the invoice price is 1,25,000, so the load is 25,000. Now it is given that Rahim incurred rupees 10,000 towards freight and insurance. So I have to write on the debit side to bank account. And this is for freight and insurance. Rupees 10,000. Now the goods were received by the consignee, whose name is Raju, and he incurred the selling expense. So I have to write here on the debit side to Raju account, selling expense was rupees 8,000. Now 10% of the goods destroyed by fire at Raju's godown. So what is the amount of goods destroyed by fire that we have to calculate? So working note number 2. So I have to calculate the amount of abnormal loss. So here I am doing calculation of abnormal loss. So at cost price, at invoice price. So goods destroyed by fire. In working note number 1, the cost price of goods that was destroyed by fire was for rupees 10,000 and the invoice price was 12,500. So the amount of load is rupees 2,500. Now to this figure I have to add the proportionate expense of Rahim. Rahim incurred rupees 10,000 towards freight and insurance and 10% of the goods destroyed by fire. So 10% of rupees 10,000 is rupees 1,000. So the proportionate expense of Rahim is rupees 1,000. There was no non-recurring expense incurred by Raju because there was only selling expense. So the abnormal loss is valued at rupees 13,500. From this figure, we have to reduce the amount of insurance claim for rupees 12,000 and the loss due to fire was rupees 1,500. So in working note number 2, I have calculated the amount of abnormal loss and the loss due to fire that is going to be debited to profit and loss account. So in consignment account, on the credit side, I can write here by abnormal loss account, rupees 13,500. Now on the debit side, I have to write the load. So here I am writing to abnormal loss account, and within bracket I am writing load. So this figure is rupees 2,500. Now it is given that Raju made the sale for rupees 1 lakh, which represented 75% of the goods that was sent to him. So on the credit side, I am writing by Raju account. This is the amount of sale. So the amount of sales effected by Raju was rupees 1 lakh. Now Raju is entitled to a commission of 10% of the sale proceed at invoice price and 25% in excess of the invoice price. So in working note number 3, I am going to calculate the amount of commission. So calculation of commission received by Raju. It is given that Raju is entitled to a commission of 10% at invoice price and 25% of any amount received over the invoice price. So 75% of invoice price is rupees 93,750. This calculation is very important. That is the amount of commission. So 75% of invoice price is 93,750. How I have arrived this figure? 75% of 1,25,000. Now the amount of commission. Now commission which is payable to Raju is 10% of the invoice price plus 25% of the difference in excess of invoice price. So 1 lakh is the amount of sales made by Raju, and in excess of rupees 93,750. This means 6,250 is the amount that he realized over the invoice price. So 9,375 plus 25%, 6,250. So you will get a figure of 1563. So total amount of commission is rupees 10,938. Now this calculation is very important. How I have calculated the amount of commission that was received by Raju is 75% of the invoice price, which is 93,750. Now Raju made a sale of rupees 1 lakh. So what is the amount which was in excess of the invoice price? This was 6,250. So Raju is entitled to a commission of 10% of the sale proceed at invoice price. 10% of 93,750 is 9,375, and 25% of the excess price received by him, that is 6,250. So 1,563. So total amount of commission is 10,938. So in consignment account, I have to write to Raju account, and the amount which was payable to him for commission is 10,938. Now I have to calculate the amount of closing stock. So the amount of closing stock, I have to show it in working note number 4. So I have to write in working note number 4 calculation of closing stock. So it is given that 75% was sold by Raju, 10% got destroyed by fire. So the amount of closing stock represents 15% of the goods consigned. So here I am writing the cost price, then invoice price. So closing stock, the value of closing stock, you can write value of closing stock for 15% is 15,000. Here 15% of 1 lakh is 15,000, and 15% of 1,25,000 is 18,750. So the amount of stock reserve is for rupees 3,750. So you can write the value of closing stock at invoice price is 18,750, and I have to add proportionate expense of consignor of Rahim. So 15% of 10,000 is rupees 1,500. So the value of closing stock is 20,250. So in consignment account, you can write by closing stock 20,250, and on the debit side I have to write to stock reserve account 3,750. Now I am going to close the consignment account, and you will get a balancing figure on the credit side that represents the loss on consignment. Total of debit side is 1,60,188 and the balancing figure is 1,438. So this way I have completed the consignment account. Now I have to prepare the Raju account, that is consignee account. So on debit side, I have to write the amount of sales made by Raju, that is to consignment to Madras account. And the amount of sales made by Raju is for rupees 1 lakh. On the credit side, I have to write the two figures. One is for the selling expense and the other is for the commission. So by consignment to Madras account, the selling expense is for rupees 8,000 and commission for 10,938. And the balancing figure was remitted by Raju to Rahim, and the amount that was remitted by Raju to Rahim is rupees 81,062. Hope all the students have recorded the question with solution and have tried to follow the process that I have adopted here. You please go through the working notes so that the concept will be clear to you. In spite of this, if you find any difficulty, feel free to communicate with me through email and the contact number given in the description box. Thank you. Thanks for watching the lecture.